In the evening, a bustling second-tier city reveals a sense of impatience. Streets were bustling with traffic and the start of the nightlife allowed many young people to escape from their stuffy rooms and squander their time. Xiao was squatting on the roof of a two-story villa, the night breeze blowing past, giving him a feeling of coolness. Xiao was dressed in black, wearing a large black hood, hiding his figure in the darkness of the roof. This outfit, in the sweltering summer, even at night, would make people feel stuffy. But compared to his unfortunate experience, this was nothing. He had been waiting here for 2 hours. At Su Xiao's age, he should have been enjoying his time in university, but he gave up his studies 3 years ago due to hatred and began learning other skills, anatomy, combat, quick unlocking, and other knowledge. The long wait began. 2 hours later, a black luxury car slowly drove into the villa yard. The dull engine sound died down and the car door opened. A middle-aged man with a hint of drunkenness walked out of the car. Due to excessive drinking, the middle-aged man's steps were clearly a bit unsteady. Su Xiao, who was on the roof of the villa, picked up a long knife next to him. As the knife was unsheathed, the blade was black and hard to detect under the cover of night. Jumping down from the 6-meter-high roof, Su Xiao's agile arms grabbed the protruding diamond corner of the villa, slowing down his descent. As he landed smoothly, Su Xiao landed right in front of his enemy without any unnecessary words. The long knife in Su Xiao's hand cut through the air, and after a whimpering sound, it cut open the enemy's throat with one blow. Blood spurted out, and although Su Xiao tried hard to avoid it, his cuffs and back of his hand were still stained with blood. The drunken enemy, who had not yet understood what had happened, had already fallen to the ground. This kind of injury is no different from death, so Su Xiao immediately ran towards the less populated area. Out of the corner of his eye, Su Xiao saw a security guard in uniform. Although he was committing a crime, it didn't matter if he was witnessed on the spot. He hid his appearance very well, but in the next moment, Su Xiao felt a chill. The security guard actually pulled out a gun from his waist. The black and long gun was obviously equipped with a silencer. How could a security guard have a gun? Su Xiao didn't have time to think carefully. Behind him was a villa that was at least 10 faces wide, and the security guard was about 20 meters away from him. If he chose to escape, his back would be completely exposed to the enemy, making him a live target. When faced with danger, Su Xiao's first reaction was to solve the source of the danger, not to escape. Rushing forward, Su Xiao ran in an S shape, trying to avoid being shot as much as possible. Puff, 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 the silenced handgun made only a faint gunshot. Su Xiao had just rushed about 5 meters when he felt a numbness in his calf, followed by the same sensation in his chest. Su Xiao knew he had been shot. Although he was a revenger, he had never been shot before. A feeling of weakness spread throughout his body. Su Xiao was not afraid, just a little unwilling. His revenge had not been completed yet, and he had already fallen, and he had been killed by an unknown enemy. This was such a frustrating thing. With the last of his strength, Su Xiao threw the long knife in his hand. This knife was basically left to fate, but God seemed to sense Su Xiao's unwillingness and his unfair experience. After a few rapid spins in the air, the knife miraculously pierced into the chest of the guard holding the gun. Su Xiao, who had collapsed to the ground, had a smile on his face. The knife he had poisoned with a neurotoxin, and it was a mixed type. The guard who had been stabbed was bound to die. His consciousness began to blur, and Su Xiao felt a heavy blow to his head, and then everything before him went black. In his last remaining consciousness, Su Xiao vaguely heard, "Hunter, Reincarnation Paradise opens for you. Body transmission in progress, 10%, 50%, 100%, transmission completed." Detecting that the hunter's body has suffered a large amount of damage, awaiting repair. The hunter's consciousness has not awakened, the repair command is postponed, and the current survival state is maintained at the lowest level. The maintenance time is 10 minutes, beep. It is found that the hunter's talent is growth talent, the survival time is added 2 hours. In the darkness, several rows of light blue text floated in midair, emitting a faint glow. Underneath the light blue text, Su Xiao lay in the void, covered in blood. His fingers twitched, and Su Xiao woke up slowly. Upon waking up, Su Xiao was a bit dazed at first, but after recalling the black gun barrel, he immediately tried to stand up. A sharp pain came, and Su Xiao almost fainted again from the pain. With difficulty, he sat up. Su Xiao looked around, besides a few lines of blue glowing text, everything around was pitch black. Hunter, welcome to Reincarnation Paradise. A line of text appeared in front of Su Xiao out of thin air, but Su Xiao didn't look at the line of text, but started to check his injuries. His calf was pierced, the wound was peeling, and his fingers could easily reach inside. This bloody scene, Su Xiao just furrowed his brows, and had no other reaction. He had experienced scenes that were 10 times more brutal than this, so these couldn't make him flinch. The injury to his chest was even more severe, but regardless of the injury to his calf or chest, not a single trace of blood was flowing out. Am I not dead? He put his hand on his chest. Su Xiao felt his heart beating strongly. Hunter, you have not died. Are you willing to join Reincarnation Paradise? Here you can find everything you want. Su Xiao had noticed those suspicious texts a long time ago, but out of caution towards the unknown, he didn't pay attention to them. The situation now was a bit strange. He had suffered fatal injuries, but miraculously survived, and in front of him was a line of blood red numbers counting down. 1:35:10, 1:35:9, 1 hour, 35 minutes and 9 seconds, if Su Xiao hadn't guessed wrong. This was what those numbers meant, and the numbers were still counting down. This blood-red number gave Su Xiao a sense of unease, as if when the number reached 0, he would lose his life. Hunter, please communicate with Paradise as soon as possible to sign a contract, otherwise, you will die in 1 hour and 35 minutes. Sure enough, those numbers represented the time he could still survive. Su Xiao had suspected earlier that his injuries were too severe and he should have died long ago. Where is my knife? Su Xiao didn't care about the contract or Paradise, but asked the other party for his knife. That knife was the only memento left to him by his parents. It was said to be an officer's knife confiscated by his great-grandfather and had been passed down to his generation. Most real-world items cannot be brought into Paradise. Please sign the contract as soon as possible. Su Xiao was silent. The light blue text flickered. Perhaps it had never encountered a hunter like Su Xiao. Contract? Tell me about it. What do I need to give, and what can I get? The gradually decreasing survival time didn't leave Su Xiao much time to delay, and he felt that he seemed to have encountered some supernatural event, which caused some fluctuations in his heart. Su Xiao needed strength to take revenge, and supernatural events might bring extraordinary power along with great risks. By signing a contract, you will shuttle between various derivative planes to complete the tasks issued by Reincarnation Paradise and obtain the source of the world. The final reward will depend on the amount of source of the world. Reincarnation Paradise is omnipotent. A lot of text appeared, and Su Xiao read it carefully. Omnipotent? Can you resurrect the dead? All the light blue text suddenly froze in midair, then all disappeared. Given your identity as a hunter, no.